10:30. We'd like to call to order the meeting, the July 10th meeting of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Mr. Joe Fertitta, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before I forget, please silence your phones, put them on silence, or turn them off. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Perry, just clear, roll call, please.
Yes, seat 8, Chucky Sheremy absent. Seat B, Perry Gisclair here. Seat C, Jimmy Lafont.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Here.
Seat F, Larry Griffin absent. Seat G, John Mellison.
Here.
Seat H, Mike Colley.
Here.
Seat I, Chris Colley.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Gisclair. Now we move to approve the minutes for the July 12, 2019, June 12, 2019 regular meeting.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Mellison, second by Mr. Pierce.
You need just mention the June 26th.
And the June 26, 2019 special meeting.
I'll move. So take up.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Mike Colley and
Yeah.
second by Mr. Mellison. Any discussion? Any comment? All in favor?
Any public?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. We move to the Executive Director's report. Mr. Chasson?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Jeff.
Filling in for Mr. Sheremy today. First, we have our Northern Expansion projects. Northern Expansion Slip C 400-foot East, Part 2 bulkhead, Picciola and Associates.
Yes, project bid, and we awarded it to Sea Level Construction in an amount of $2,585,603. Contract documents are complete, and we're currently scheduling a pre-construction meeting with the contractor in the next 2 weeks to anticipate giving them a notice to proceed.
Okay. Good deal. Any questions? Thank you, Joe. Minor Sheremy Senior Road Paving Project, Angelette Picciola. Mr. Larry.
Yes, the contractor on this job is Barney Talbot. They are working, not today though. And they got all the cross culverts in, most of all the limestone in, and for the extension. So they're moving along well. I expect them to be finished on time. I don't see any problem right now.
Good deal. Any questions? All right, thank you. In the Coastal Wetlands Park, Dave, you want to talk about the Coastal Wetlands Park, where we are in terms of Tidal Creek, that sort of thing?
Yes, we had on our original permit requirements, we had to fill this area, plant it if the grass did not grow on its own, which fortunately most of it is growing on its own. And we now have our excavator cutting in Tidal Creek in there. It'll probably be another few weeks doing the Tidal Creek, and eventually we have to open that to natural water so we get that tidal influence.
Right.
Is a basic part of our original permit.
Thad, I'm going to put you on the spot if you want to come just briefly talk about the 2 grant applications that are out there that we're applying for, so we can do some of that work.
Good morning. So we've already had applied for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, so that has been submitted. That's moving on to the second submittal process. So we'll hopefully hear about that, later this year. The Recreational Trails Program is another piece to this. We found out that we were going to be able to apply for both of these simultaneously, so it made sense to go ahead and try to go after numerous pieces of what we want to hopefully do with a master plan in the future. This in combination with the Louisiana Cajun Bayou Tourism Grant that we were already awarded. It's just an idea to try to, I guess, start moving towards taking care of different pieces of that project on the site. The first real main part of this would be to provide for parking, an orientation pavilion, and potential kayak launch for the Tidal Creek as that's being mapped out.
Any questions to add on that? All right, thank you,
Thank
Thad. Okay, moving on to airport projects. Joe Wheeler.
Good morning. We had a total of 2,450 aircraft operations, 10,431 passengers moved, and 17,577 vehicles for the month of June. Significant increase on both jet and turboprop traffic, so that's a good thing. More than likely, both industry and fishing tournaments, the rodeos, is what's affecting that. The next thing we have is the airfield drainage improvements. Lowest responsive bidder was Byron E. Talbot for $40,968. We do have a $243,000 grant from the FAA on this project. Did come in over estimate, but the contractor is willing to negotiate, and we have about $100,000 we can bring off that contract. So that'll be up for y'all's approval next. And also, the FAA has not given us any guarantees, but they are looking for additional money. State is out of money. So we could potentially get some additional grant funds toward that. The next thing we have is the airport culvert improvements, and y'all have the clear lien certificate for y'all's review and approval later on in the meeting. Y'all have any questions?
Yes, you meant the state aviation fund is out of funding right now?
Correct, sir. All the money is spoken for. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, other projects, the South Lafourche Levee District, LA1 realignment and flood wall project, Picciola and Associates. Joe.
Yes, Byron Talbot's the contractor. They've been pouring concrete in the last month. They expect the gate fabrication to be complete by the end of this month. And then they'll also start working in the beginning of August on completion of the roadway. So everything should be put together sometime mid to late August, but they are running behind schedule. So as soon as they can get it in, we're pushing them to get it done as quickly as possible.
All right. Any questions, Joe, on that project?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, the Section 203 feasibility study, GIS engineering. Dustin.
Thank you, Chet. Dustin Marlborough with GIS. Chet and myself and Bryce and our technical team visited DC last week to have a 2.5-hour roundtable discussion with the ASA and the headquarters review team. This meeting went well for the most part. Just to give you a little details of the things that we covered, we went through every comment and response and the rebuttal that they had back to us in this meeting. Our ask to them was, how do we, on just about each question, how is it that we can resolve this to your satisfactory? We got that guidance. The big hitters are the LNG. There was some inconsistencies between Energy World's water suitability assessment that was submitted for their application and our report as it relates to the Future Without project. Chet and I got on a conference call, I think it was Monday evening,
Yep.
With Graham Elliott of Energy World. We resolved that. That will kind of go to the wayside, which is for this project, the Future Without project condition is a big thing. So we think that's going to go to the wayside. The biggest thing now is convincing the Corps that the LNG facility in its phase 2 will use the biggest PMAX, QMAX vessels in the world fleet. We got that confirmation from Graham on our call on Monday that the biggest vessels will be used because of the efficiencies of the transport to the Philippines. So we feel comfortable. I think Graham is due to be down here at the end of this month or first week of August, that we're going to get together with them, shore these things up, put some stuff down on writing to where we could submit back to the ASA and have those things resolved. The resultant, if we wouldn't be able to use the largest vessels, LNG would cap out its economics at 45 feet, which would put us in a situation with the rig repair as a single user facility, which we've kind of gotten around with the port and the way that you guys do business. but they would still require us to do a multi-port analysis, which is for us to evaluate the ports in Texas, the ports in Mobile, our ports here, that we're not stealing business from domestic ports, which is obviously time is of an essence here for us to make this next WRDA bill. So eliminating or not having to do that multi-port analysis is really our big initiative. And then Energy World's commitment to the largest vessels could resolve that issue. So I would say the soonest we could see resolve to where we could get the ASA to start their clock of 180 days of review would be probably middle August, but I would say middle to the end of August, which is a good timeline for how WRDA is kind of stepping its way for a 2020 bill. So that's what we're driving towards.
Any questions? All right.
All right.
Thank you, Dustin. All right, the next is the CCTV Slip B and C camera and equipment project. April.
All right, the Slip B and C camera project is complete as of June 28th. We now have 11 additional cameras covering Slip B and C. This was a $100,000 estimated project and came in at $103,000. The Bell Pass Tower upgrade, we received the line of sight RF study and extended the contract through July 31st so that the contractor has time to finish getting us the structural analysis and the size tower to go back up on that site. And then the next thing is an announcement about an AMSTEP exercise by the U.S. Coast Guard. The Coast Guard will conduct an area maritime security training exercise next Thursday, July 18th. AMSTEP is a community-based anti-terrorism exercise program that was created to address the requirements of the Maritime Transportation Security Act of 2002. This full-scale exercise will bring together federal, state, local law enforcement, and emergency management partner agencies, in addition to the Louisiana Offshore Oil Port and GLPC Harbor Police, to test the South Louisiana Area Maritime Security Plan. This exercise will also validate security measures and various interagency agreements. Simultaneously, the GLPC will be testing its harbor police response and C4 incident management system. The exercise will take place at several locations throughout the parish, including Loop, Galliano, GLPC's administration building, the LaRose Civic Center, and the Lafourche Parish EOC in Matthews. Unauthorized persons and media will not be permitted access during the exercise. Members of the community should note that this is a full-scale exercise, which means there will be lots of activity on and around these sites on July 18th. Police units, fire trucks, ambulances, and more will be visible at the above sites as they are participating in the exercise. Any questions?
We're going to be, I have one, we're going to be putting out a little public notice or?
We sent one out this morning.
morning,
I
okay.
put it out this morning, and we will resend it again on Monday, just because it'll probably get caught up in the clutter with the weather, but we will resend it out on Monday. And
Thank you,
it's
April.
on social media as well.
Okay.
And it's on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, April. All right. We have an update from the LA1 Coalition. Henri isn't here. He couldn't make it with traffic and everything going on. So just real briefly, what's going on with that is, as we're all aware, the bill that we were behind, House Bill 578, did pass and was signed by the governor. That turned in from a 2-project bill to a, I don't know, about 7 or 8 projects. That's a $700 million infrastructure project bill that's going to be moving forward. Our next main concern was, we had a promise from the governor that if we were able to get the $150 million match from the state through the legislature, that they would commit DOTD to put forth an infra grant application to the federal government to get the rest of the $140 million needed to complete the next phase of the elevated highway, that last 8 miles. And so we were attempting to schedule a meeting with them. We didn't get a meeting, but we did get a discussion with the governor's office telling Representative Tanner McGee, which that was his bill that passed, telling Representative Tanner McGee that they are still committed to apply for the LA1 project in this next round for infra. So that's good information, and we will be working with them, and Henri will be working with LADOTD in terms of putting that application together in the near future, because that should be announced later in the early fall into late August or September. That should be an announcement where it'll be due by the end of the year. So we'll see. We're excited about that, and we'll be moving forward. So the rest of LA1 should have all its money together, hopefully within the next year, and project moving in the next 2 or 3 years, actually seeing construction out there. So we're going to knock on wood for that, and we'll be hopefully seeing some of that come to fruition in the near future. Any questions on that project? Okay. And if that was built already, we wouldn't be so concerned about what this storm that's coming to us, and we'll talk about that later. I have some brief updates for y'all on what's going on with that, with the weather that's coming our way in a second. But the last thing is, I know we have some public comment. I think Mr. Joffrion, who's running for judge, is interested in speaking to us, so thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chet. Morning, gentlemen. Thanks for this opportunity. Those that you don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ty Joffrion. I'm running for District Court Judge in Lafourche, Division C. That's the division that was vacated when Judge Lanier got elected to the First Circuit this past year. Presently attorney, I've been practicing for the past 28 years in this area. Sole practitioner with a general practice, means I do just about a little bit of everything. I handle all civil work, criminal work, successions, adoptions, you name it, I've done it. And as you know, district courts in Lafourche are courts of general jurisdiction. That means those judges handle all the legal matters in that parish. It's not like Orleans or Jefferson where they have separate criminal court judges and civil court judges and juvenile judges. In Lafourche, we have judges, they handle everything. It's pretty much what I've been doing for the past 28 years. So anything that comes through those courtroom doors, I've had my hands on one way or another in the past 28 years. I'm a resident of Thibodaux, graduated from Nicholls State University. I'm a active practitioner in Christ the Redeemer Catholic Church for the past 25 years. I'm very active in the Knights of Columbus. I'm a lifelong Republican. I'd like to take my vast experience along with my conservative values to be able to serve the people of Lafourche Parish as the next district court judge for Division C. Thank you for your time, gentlemen, and I thank you for the work that y'all do on this board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joffrion. Appreciate you being here. Any other public comment? All right. That concludes my report, Mr. Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chasson. We move to committee reports. First, the Executive Committee, made up of Chucky Sheremy, Chairman, Rodney Gisclair, Perry Gisclair, and John Melisson, Jr. First up, we have consider approving the request from Edison Schwest Offshore for a consent and estoppel agreement from Martin Holdings Offshore Support Services and Fouchon Heavy Lift Leases.
Okay, so those, Edison Schwest Offshore is doing some bank work, and every time they look at doing some mortgage changes, we have to approve these consent and estoppel agreements, so the recommendation is to approve that for them.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Perry Gisclair, second by Mr. Curtis Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have consider approving the request from Bristow US to extend the trailer site lease at the SL Industrial Park at the airport.
Okay, Bristow has been having a trailer lease. Their lease is a 6-year lease, comes up at the end of August 31st of this year, and they're requesting to do another 3-year extension, and what we'll do is they have a 90-day out in their lease, so we'll offer them a 3-year extension with a 3-year option, just like they had this last time. And believe they'll accept that, pending that they have the 90-day out, which we have in all of our leases. So recommendation to approve.
Thank you. Need a motion?
Move.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Mike Colley. Second by
Chris.
Mr. Chris. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have consider approving the reimbursement agreement with NOAA for the management, operations, and maintenance and repair to the Port Fourchon physical oceanographic real-time systems.
Okay, so this is basically the official tide gauge for the Port Fourchon area. There's equipment down there that is owned by NOAA. This agreement says that we will basically pay them to operate that system, and it's a 5-year agreement. Recommendation to approve. You can see, before we go there, John is showing pictures of that location. It's actually up on our website. It's open, free. People can come in from the public and see the official tides from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Take a motion. You can keep going.
Need a motion? Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce.
Second.
Second by Mr. Perry Jusclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the Permits and Waterways Committee. Chairman, Mr. Perry Jusclair, Curtis Pierce, Jimmy Lafont, and Chucky Sheremy. Mr. Jusclair?
Thank you, Mr. President. First is the report of the Corps of Engineers Bell Pass Jetty Extension and Repair Project.
Okay, Dave, you can go ahead.
Yes, that's a Corps project. Actually, they had a pre-construction meeting, the Corps and Bertucci contractors. Serena and I were on that meeting, and Bertucci is planning to mob in. Actually talked to him this week because of the weather. He's going to hold off and mob equipment maybe next week or week after. And 7 to 10 days, we'll have barges of limestone coming from the Mississippi River to the project site. So they'll be out here in the next 14 days or so, and it'll take them a few months to extend the jetties and do some repairs on some lower areas that were washed out in past storms.
So as you can see on the screen, it's going to be an extension on the back end of the jetty going towards the land here. They're going to backfill that with sand, and that'll protect against any washout. You can tell how easy it would be to wash out for any storm event. So we're going to be monitoring that obviously this week. And then it's going to do some jetty repair work on some low areas throughout the east jetty. Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have a couple of permits. One is Delta Seaboard Marine LLC, Lafourche Parish and Jefferson Parish. Delta Seaboard Marine LLC is proposing to plug and abandon 59 wells and remove associated structures and approximately 142,432 linear feet of flow lines via pulling. Approximately 0.10 acres of saline marsh and 4 acres of open water may be impacted by the proposed activity. Next is Ace Pipeline LLC, Lafourche Parish and St. James Parish. Proposed construction of approximately 306,761 feet. That would be 58.1 miles of 30-inch diameter crude oil pipeline from an existing terminal in St. James, Louisiana, to the loop facility near Galliano. A total of approximately 1,905,885 cubic yards of excavation filling may be impacted. A total of 820 acres of wetlands, non-wetlands, and water bottoms for this project. And if you have any questions, you can check with administration. And Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have the Construction and Development Committee. Chairman, Mr. Larry Griffin. Members are Chris Colley, Jimmy Lafont, and Chucky Sheremy. In the absence of Mr. Griffin, Mr. Chris Colley will give his report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. First, we have consider adopting the DOTD resolution to advertise Slip C 1,100 feet east bulkhead project.
Okay, this is a continuation of the bulkhead construction we're doing on the east side of Slip C. This is a port priority, a DOTD port priority funded project. So the recommendation is to approve this resolution requesting authority to advertise for the
Move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Melisson, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, we have consider approving the lowest responsive bid for the airfield drainage improvements project.
Okay, as Joe mentioned earlier, Joe Wheeler mentioned earlier, we had two bidders for this project from LA Contracting and Byron E. Talbot. The lowest responsive bidder was Byron E. Talbot Contractors for $440,968. Again, as Joe mentioned, we're going to negotiate that down. We have some things that we can do since both of the bids were above our estimates. So we believe we can bring this down at least $100,000. So the recommendation is to approve the Byron E. Talbot Contractors bid and know that we are negotiating that down to have a better price.
Need a motion? Moved by Mr. Perry, just Claire. Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, we have consider accepting the clear lien certificate from Byron E. Talbot Contractor for the Airport Road Culvert Improvements Project.
Okay, that project is fully completed and recommendation to approve the clear lien certificate.
Need a motion? Moved by Mr. Pierce, seconded by Mr.
Second.
Melisson. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Vice President, this concludes the Construction and Development Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we have the Finance Committee. Chairman, Mr. John Melisson. Members are Rodney Gisclair, Mike Colley, and Chucky Sheremy. Mr. Melisson, please.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Vice President. We'll begin by considering approving payments of the June 2019 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. Item 1, Byron E. Talbot Incorporated, $346,204.76, and that is for the minor Sheremy Road paving, along with culvert replacement and pavement patching of the airport road. Item 2, Pisciola and Associates, $102,931.07, and that is for Slip C Phase 3, 1,100 linear feet of east bulkhead, Slip C Phase 3, 400 linear feet of east bulkhead, airport access road culvert improvements, along with Slip D volume survey and general waterway survey. Item 3, Aon Risk Services Southwest Incorporated, $42,699, and that is for our insurance renewal fee service. Item 4, GIS Engineering LLC, $40,736.37, and that is for the 203 feasibility study, along with Fouchon Island mapping. Excuse me. Item 5, Epic Aviation, $25,859.27, and that is for fuel resale at the airport. Excuse me again. Item 6, Vision Communications, $23,139.70, and that is for phone, internet, and cable services. Item 7, American Integration Contractors, $17,912.88, and that is for the LaRose Floodgate camera project, the Bell Pass camera site upgrade, Slip B camera CCTV Phase 4, and CCTV repairs. Item 8, Grand Isle Shipyard, $13,312.96, and that is for contract labor at the FBO. Item 9, Angelette Piciola, LLC, $12,682.45, and that is for general engineering for site surveys, Fouchon Island conceptual development, and Minor Cherami Senior Road paving. Item 10, Bank of America, $11,874.47, and that is for port credit card charges. Item 11, Wagaspack Oil Company, $11,513.04, and that is for fuel for vehicles and port equipment. Item 12, Gin South, $10,403.60, and that is for preventative maintenance and repairs on the port generators. That, along with our other expenditures, brings us to a total of $1,261,179.79. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these expenditures.
Okay, moved by Mr.
Second.
Melisson, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, as discussed in Monday night's committee meeting, we will consider approving the 2019 May and June unaudited financial statements. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these.
Moved by Mr. Melisson,
Second.
second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And last, we have consider approving out-of-state travel and training. We have Airport Director Joe Wheeler attending the National Association of State Aviation Officials Convention and Trade Show in Minnesota, September 7th through the 11th. Next, we have Communications and Grants Manager Thad Angelos attending the American Association of Port Authorities Communications and Marketing Seminar in Canada, October 27th through the 30th. Next, we have IT System Specialist Joseph Colston III attending the DEF CON Security Conference in Nevada, August 7th through the 12th. Next, we have Director of Homeland Security and Technology April Danos attending the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Resiliency Briefing in Virginia, August 13th through the 15th. And last, we have Harbor Police Chief Mike Kindler, along with Harbor Police Sergeant Jason Plaisance, and Harbor Police Compliance Coordinator Scott Bynum attending the Zurich 1 User Conference in South Dakota, September 10th through the 12th. And I'd like to make a motion we accept these out-of-state travel and training requests.
Moved by Mr. Melisson, second by Mr. Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, I'd like to commend you on doing a wonderful job today, or Mr. Vice President, excuse me. And this concludes the financial report.
It's been a hard job replacing Mr. Sheridan. He does a great job. Any other business?
All right, I want to, if I may, talk about where we are in storm prep and storm watch. The National Hurricane Center, or the Air Force Reconnaissance aircraft, is going to be going out this afternoon. So they hadn't, that aircraft has not been out to investigate the weather yet. So everything we've been getting in terms of from the National Hurricane Center is just speculation based on what they see in weather patterns. So once the aircraft goes out there this afternoon, we'll know a lot better exactly what's going to happen with this thing. But currently, the National Hurricane Center did put out a proposed kind of cone. We just saw one this morning. We are currently in a tropical storm watch. We are currently in a storm surge watch. They're saying at this point that this potentially is going to be a hurricane just to the west of us and south of us come Friday or Saturday. So we have to monitor this thing very closely, and we are. As you're aware, we put out a storm phase 1 watch. We're in the storm watch this morning. The storm harbor is now open, so vessels should be parking in there. We'll have our personnel monitoring that 24/7 from here on out to make sure that's all good there. Our major concern, obviously, is for public safety of the workers and people in the port, and having road access in and out of the port. So that section of LA1 between the lock structure in Golden Meadow outside the levee system to Leeville, before you get to Leeville itself, and everybody in Leeville off of old LA1 is our concern in Grand Isle to be able to get them in and out. So we'll be monitoring that very closely and doing just as we have always done in the past, making the right decisions to keep people out of harm's way as best we can with the information that we're given. So we just had a conference call with the Corps of Engineers at 10 o'clock this morning, and a bunch of other folks that were on the call. At 11:30, there's a conference call with the National Weather Service, and then the state is having a conference call at 2 p.m. So this afternoon, there'll be some movement, and I would venture to say into early tomorrow morning, there'll be some decisions being made with us and the parish government, the sheriff's office, and looking at what needs to take place. And we'll be constantly communicating that with our customers, with you, and with the general public as they monitor our Facebook page and all the other sources of information. Y'all have any questions on any of this at all right now? It's a lot up in the air, but we're prepped and ready.
Well, as long as we're keeping the safety of people and personnel primary, I think we're all doing the right thing and moving in a good direction.
Mm-hmm.
Any other business?
Yes, and just mentioning our Commissioner Larry Griffin, who's not here, who would rather be here than where he's at.
Yes.
He's in good spirits, and he just wants to let everyone know this is a little long road for him to get to his other hip replacement, but it's moving along, and he just, like I'm saying, he wishes everybody just keep him in your prayers, and he would rather be here, and he can't wait till he gets here, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment before we close
All
out.
right.
I'd
Mr.
just like
Breaux?
to make a comment that Golden Meadow Lafourche International Talking Rodeo last weekend did host a 71st successful rodeo. They had plenty of participants, leaderboards were filled. I think every kid that participated walked away with a fishing line with help from CCA, so very good community activity. Unfortunately, the Lafourche Almond Rodeo, which was scheduled this weekend, had to be canceled. They usually give back to the community. That's going to be difficult to do this year, but they actually had about 3,000 meals prepped for that event that we're trying to give to a food bank. So they will be able to at least give something back to the community in this region, even though they're not hosting a rodeo this weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Breaux. And those are two very good organizations that do a lot for the community in grants and scholarships, et cetera. Thanks for that update. Any other public comment?
Mr. President, I make a motion we adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Gisclair,
Second.
second by Mr. Chris Colley. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for attending.